Hello, dear. It's Heather, and you're watching Save Today with Heather J. I am somebody who has spent her entire adult life living paycheck to paycheck, never getting ahead, never getting anything savings. I have nothing set aside for retirement, and it's time to change that. I have decided to start this channel as a way to hold myself accountable and keep myself on track. Budgeting is something I have tried to do several times in the past, and it's never really stuck. Budgeting is something that I find incredibly boring, and I don't think overwhelming is the word. Discouraging. It's very discouraging to work so hard and not have the money for extras. Just barely pay the rent and get food on the table, get up tomorrow, do the same thing again. And it's not been fun. And so I've given up and I quit trying. And it's time to do the hard stuff. This is the hard stuff. So what are we doing today? Well, today I'm doing my paycheck number one check-in. This is my brand new journey. The month of May is my very first month doing this, and so I have a pretty strong learning curve to get through this with you guys, to get through this with myself. I got myself this lovely little book. It's very cute, and it is really small. I got myself some new pens. I was really excited for this channel. We're gonna do this thing. Initially, the first pens I got, as you can see, bled through the paper, so I have to keep that covered up until we get further enough along in the book that is no longer an issue. I did go get myself some new pens, which now they don't bleed through the paper. And so I set up my paycheck number one budget, and I was so very excited with my cute little book, and I've got my estimates here and then my what it really was here, and I just sat down to do this video and realized, oh, this book doesn't have another column over here for what the difference was, plus or minus. So I had to go white everything out, scooch everything over, and make it fit. I'm not going to rush out and go buy myself another book that has one more set of lines. I will, moving forward, have to readjust the way it looks, but for right now, it's looking really sloppy. I've got all my little white out. I scooched everything over. We're going to move on from where we're at today. So when I set up my initial budget, if you watched that video, you may recall that I get paid hourly, not salary, and I get paid bi-weekly. So I get paid every other week. I get 26 paychecks a year. So twice a year, there ends up being a third paycheck within that month. I have estimated, based on a 38-hour work week, I'm a full-time employee, so I get anything over 32 hours is considered full-time legally. So my job has said that for the full-time people, we will guarantee 37 hours. Anytime you're moving into from hourly to salaried position, they base their wages on a guarantee of 37 hours paycheck. So I have made my budget based on 38 hours a week. Most times I do get closer to 40. Sometimes they'll have to cut back, or I'll need to take some time off and it will be less than that. So sometimes when they cut back, it can be 36 or 37 hours and it will be less than that. But I based my monthly and bi-weekly salary on 38 hours a week at $28 an hour. And then I subtracted out the 30%, which is my taxes and all of my medical. It really comes out to like 27% or something, but I've estimated the 30%. So that is where this $1140 came from. That was my 38 hours at 20 hours minus 30% gave me $1140 a paycheck. When I received my check this week, I did get more than the 38 hours each week. I got And one of those weeks I did get like an hour and something in overtime. So my actual salary was not $11.40, it was $1275.72, which is a difference of pardon me while I get myself situated. So I got $1275.72, and I estimated I was going to get $11.40. So I received an additional $135.72. I always leave myself the option of this other line. I don't have child support. I don't have a second job. I don't have any kind of railroad investment type of situation where I get paid an annuity. So that was nothing. So my total income for this pay period was $1,275.72, which was $135.72 more than I estimated that it might be. So that's good. Got a little bit of extra money. I'm going to need it because, as you can see, my first budget puts me in the red at the end. So hopefully as we go through this, that will come out of the red. So I had estimated my fixed expenses. My rent is $850 a month. I did just set it up to become auto paid on the 1st. And with that, there was the possibility that there was going to be a $3 service fee for that. And that is the case. So my rent was actually $853, which was a difference of negative $3. So I ended up paying $3 more than I had estimated on my rent. Moving forward, of course, I will adjust that and do the $853. But I knew that was a possibility when I set it up. I just, because I hadn't done it before, wasn't sure if I was really reading that correctly. By setting it up for auto pay, that is the reason I had to make sure that my first paycheck in the month is a little bit early. I could not, if I had waited for my first May paycheck to be the first check in May, that would have been May 5th today, or at the time I'm filming that, that's today. And then I would have had a late fee of $127.50, and so I'm trying to prevent the late fees because of course I'm not getting ahead anywhere if I'm spending that. So that's where we're at with rent. I do have a fee for U-Haul boxes, and that is $97.99. And I have 2 of those that I pay for. That's $98. And actually I have 3 of them I pay for, but 2 come out at the 28th of the month, and 1 comes out on the 16th, I believe. And that is based on when I had them dropped off at my old location and filled. When I was leaving this house I was in last, I wasn't sure where I was going. I knew at the time my son and I were living together, and I knew he was coming to where we are now, so that and I knew that's where he was going. So we had 1 box delivered for him, and he put his stuff in that, and that's going to be coming forward. But I wasn't sure if I was going to be traveling with him and coming here where we currently are, or if I was going to go back to where I had been prior to being with him, another state with my daughter. Or I was trying to get a position within the company that was a salaried position, that was a traveling position. I wasn't sure at that time which of those 3 options was going to be the thing that happened for me. I wasn't sure where I was going to land. And so I put my stuff in boxes and figured it could go either way. I wanted those to be separate. If he and I ended up separate, I wanted to make sure that the correct box went the correct place. And so that's why they were delivered separately, and that's why they're billed separately. So this is my 2 boxes for $195.98. And that did come out. There was no extra charges in there. That was a surprise. And so that was no difference there. And then I have this credit card payment. I have one credit card that I'm finishing paying off, and that one is almost done. That one takes out $100 each paycheck, and that's an automatic thing that was set up, I don't know, last October or November or something, and I'm almost done with that. I have this paycheck for 100, one more paycheck for 100 in what is my May, and then I have another 100, and then the very last paycheck, or the very last withdrawal for that, is just $26.62, which is, I believe, on the 2nd of June. And then that credit card is paid for. So that $100 came out no problem. And so my bills were the $853 plus the $195.98. Oh, I don't know what I did. $853 plus 195.98 plus this 100. So my bills were $1148.98, and again, that was $3 more than I had budgeted for that to be. My flexible spending, I had estimated to be $90 a week, for a total of $180 for the pay period for my groceries. And I did spend a total of $64.60 on my groceries this pay period. And so if I take the 180 that I had estimated and I subtract the $64.60 that I spent, that leaves me with $115.40 that I did not spend on that. And the dining out, I had estimated $30, and I actually spent $37.33. So I was over budget. Did I do something wrong dining out? I guess not. I was over budget by $37.33. So I was over budget this pay period by $7.33. And for transportation, I had estimated I would be spending $20 a week, for a total of $40 a month on gas and buses. And I did spend $37.71 this pay period. Which means I am $2.29 under budget. And then miscellaneous, I had budgeted myself $10 a week, for a total of $20 for this pay period, and I spent $41.69. So I am negative $21.69 in miscellaneous. So if we do the math and bring this forward, $64.60 plus the $37.33 plus the $37.71 plus the $41.69, that means in my flexible spending, I spent $181.33. I had given myself a budget of $270, and I only spent $133, which left me with $88.67. Let's see if we can make sure that that lines up. So I had $115.40 and take away the $733. Add the $229 and take away $21.69. and that does come up to the $88.67. So I was $88.67 under my estimated budget in flexible spending. So let's carry my numbers down. In my income, I got $1,275.72, and I spent in fixed income, I spent $1,148.98. So we do $1,275.72 minus $1,148.98, and I spent $181.33 in flexible spending, so minus 181.33 means I finished out the month. Why does that not add up? 181.33, 1275, 1145, 181. Let's try that again, because what I have in my notes does not match what I have here. So let's see if I did something wrong. 1275.72 minus 1148.98 minus 181.33. That still doesn't come up to what my notes do, but that's a little closer. Oh, because I didn't do the $3 difference on that one. Yes. So I am actually negative for this pay period, $54.59. And let's see if that carries over here. 135.72 I had left over in my, or not left over, I guess I had extra in income. And then in my fixed expenses, I was that $3 over budget. And in my flexible expenses, I was $88.67 under budget. And so then if I double check this way, I have the 135.72. I take away the $3. Ooh, $3 I was over. And then the $88.67 I was under budget. That leaves me with $221.39 more than I thought I was going to have. And so let's see if that carries over. I thought I was going to be negative $275.98. And I'm only negative the $54.59, which does balance out to the $221.39 less than I under what I had budgeted. So that's good that I did got more money and spent less than I had originally estimated. But it's not great that I finished out the paycheck in the negative at $54.59. Does that mean that my account is now negative and I have overdraft charges in my bank? It does not, because when I had originally started this, I did have about $78 in my account to start with. Not necessarily as a buffer, it was just the leftovers from the last paycheck. And so I needed that because, again, I did have I spent $50 more than I brought in. So that is not ideal. But I am not negative. I don't have overdraft charges because I got more money and because I had a little bit of a buffer in my account. I do end up having just barely any money in my account before I got my next paycheck. So that is it for this paycheck number 1 check-in. There were some things that so there were some good things and some bad things. And the biggest bad thing is this miscellaneous. All of this that I spent, I believe, was flexible spending related to my sewing and creative habit. If I was not doing my sewing, I would not have spent that money. And if it weren't honestly, if it weren't for this channel, I might not have chosen to spend it. I hesitate when I say that because I make lots of excuses to spend money on my sewing. But I have chosen to have the sewing be part of my personality that I bring into this channel. And that's in part because my long-term goal is to be self-employed doing something related to my sewing. So eventually that is going to carry, eventually the hope is for that to be my income, either in addition to or instead of my current job. And I have to have the stuff to do the stuff. And so I chose to spend that. Anyway, it's a lot of excuses. I definitely did not need to go and get an iron and an ironing board, but I would not have been able to move forward with the sewing without them. That would have held me up, and that's fine. I've been held up for months and months and months at this point because all of my stuff is in those boxes that I've been fighting to get. Also, I went and got other pens because this bleed through happens. If I was just doing this for myself, the bleed through doesn't matter. I didn't need to go buy a new set of pens. But because I'm doing this and I'm presenting it to you guys, the bleed through is really not acceptable. And I'm going to have to find a way to make this too narrow of a book work as I move forward. I'm not going to go get a whole brand new book to make that work better for this channel. But when I'm done with this book, I will get something that is a little different. So that's it for my week 1, or my paycheck number 1 check-in. I don't know, good, bad, or indifferent. I'm still just barely getting by from one paycheck to the next. There's still not any money for savings. And until my U-Haul boxes stop being in storage and my credit card is paid off, that's the way it's going to continue to be. Those are the only things that I have left that I can get rid of. Anyway, that is that. So that's the end of my budget portion of this video. And if that's all you were here for, I thank you for visiting with me today, and have fun with whatever else it is you're doing in the rest of your day. Thanks for coming and spending that little bit of time with me. If you're sticking around for the creative stuff, I'm filming 3 videos today, and so there isn't a whole lot of change in what's happening behind you or on the background from my previous video. I will just let you know, I have 2 sewing machines here with me. One just does a straight stitch and one does a couple of other things. So each night when I sew, I have to bring one machine out to the kitchen table and work on that. And this, fighting my way inside all of this to sew these lines and have it not sew through both layers, has been quite a fight, because this is such a deep bag. To get down in here has been quite a physical struggle. So this has been an adventure, much bigger. When I thought I was going to do this, it seemed really easy, but in the actuality, it's being very difficult. I don't know what all I want to say about this, so maybe I just won't say anything at all, since there's not any real difference in what we're seeing with my laundry bag. Yeah, that's what we'll do. I thank you so much for hanging out with me. Wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, please make sure you have some fun today. Bye-bye now.